It's no secret that Jesse James was one of the most notorious outlaws in American history, but what is common knowledge is just how interesting his life was before he turned to a life of crime. Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at the early life of Jesse James. Make sure to stay tuned for more videos about his later life as an outlaw. Jesse James was born on September 5, 1847, in Kearney, Missouri. His father, Henry James, was a farmer and former hatter who had fought in the War of 1812. By all accounts, Henry was a strict disciplinarian, and he ran his farm like a well-oiled machine. This meant that from a young age, Jesse and his 3 siblings were expected to work hard and help out wherever they could. Despite this, or perhaps because of it, Jesse was known as a troublemaker even as a child. He was also known for being an avid hunter, which led him to develop a great skill with firearms. This would later serve him well when he turned to a life of crime. When Jesse was just 16 years old, his father, Henry, was killed in a bizarre accident while cutting down a tree. The family farm then had to be sold to pay off debts, and Jesse and his family moved into a two-room shack on the outskirts of St. Louis. Around this time, Jesse began working as a horse thief, stealing horses and then selling them to a man named Bob Ford. Bob Ford was a criminal who was wanted for several crimes, including murder. He took Jesse under his wing and taught him the ways of the outlaw. In 1861, when the Civil War broke out, Jesse saw an opportunity to make some quick money. He joined the Confederate Army and became a member of the 2nd Missouri Infantry Regiment. While fighting for the Confederacy, Jesse met his future, Frank James. Frank was a year older than Jesse, and had already gained a reputation as a skilled fighter and leader. The two men quickly formed a bond, and when the war ended in 1865, they decided to stay together. After the war, Jesse and Frank began to plan their first major heist, robbing stagecoaches that traveled between St. Louis and Kansas City. They targeted the coaches that carried government payroll, which were often filled with thousands of dollars in gold and other valuables. One of their most successful robberies occurred in 1866, when they ambushed a coach carrying $60,000 in payroll for the Union Pacific Railroad. This amount is equivalent to around $1.5 million today. The James brothers divided the money amongst themselves and their gang of around 10 men. As their gang grew, so did their audacity. In 1867, they robbed 3 more stagecoaches in broad daylight, getting away with around $100,000 in valuables. This haul is equivalent to around $2.5 million today. Over the next few years, the James brothers and their gang continued to rob stagecoaches and trains, amassing a fortune in the process. They lived lavishly, spending their ill-gotten gains on fine clothes, jewelry, and expensive liquor. They also used some of their money to buy weapons, which they used to defend themselves against the lawmen, who were always on their trail. By the 1870s, Jesse James had become one of the most wanted men in the United States. There were entire newspapers dedicated to tracking his every move, yet somehow he managed to evade capture for most of his life. That is, until he was betrayed by his own brother, Frank. On April 3, 1882, Jesse and his gang robbed a bank in the town of Liberty, Missouri. As they were making their getaway, Jesse was shot in the back by an unknown assailant. He managed to escape, but he knew that he wouldn't be able to survive for long. He died on April 1882 at the age of just 34. Jesse James was a legendary outlaw whose name struck fear into the hearts of people across the United States. His life of crime began at an early age, and he was a wanted man for most of his adult life. Despite the many theories surrounding his death, the truth is that nobody knows for sure how he died. All we know is that he was shot, and that he died believing that his own brother had betrayed him. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, Please leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos. We'll see you next time.